Did J. Prince Jr. really confront NBA YoungBoy? Within minutes, reaction channels, fan pages, and live streams were pushing dramatic thumbnails suggesting a face-to-face showdown had taken place. Some posts claimed tempers exploded. Others hinted that powerful people behind the scenes were trying to keep the details quiet. But as viewers started digging deeper, something unexpected happened. The biggest argument wasn't about what was said. It was about whether any public evidence of such a confrontation actually existed. That didn't stop the internet from building theories. Old interviews resurfaced. Past disagreements involving different artists were clipped together. Business relationships were re-examined. Every new post seemed to connect unrelated moments into one massive storyline, with fans trying to determine whether growing tensions inside Southern hip-hop had finally reached a breaking point. Before long, everyone had a different version of the same story. Some believed there had been private conversations behind closed doors that would never become public. Others argued the viral narrative had grown far beyond the publicly available facts. Either way, the streets and the internet were watching every move, waiting for the next clue. Because if two of the biggest names connected to today's rap business were really on a collision course, the next development could change the conversation overnight. Before anyone can understand why this story exploded across hip-hop media, it's important to understand why the names involved carry so much weight. NBA YoungBoy and J. Prince Jr. represent two very different paths through the rap industry, and that contrast is one reason online discussions about them often attract intense attention. NBA YoungBoy built one of the most dedicated fan bases in modern hip-hop through a relentless release schedule and a direct connection with listeners. Even during periods when legal matters affected his public appearances, his music consistently generated enormous streaming numbers. His career became closely associated with independence, consistency, and an audience that follows nearly every move he makes. J. Prince Jr., meanwhile, has long been associated with rap business circles through his connection to the Prince family. Because of that history, his name frequently appears in conversations about artist relationships, industry networking, and the broader business side of Southern hip-hop. Whether discussing events, collaborations, or public appearances, many fans naturally pay close attention whenever his name enters a headline. That combination helps explain why this rumor spread so quickly. Once social media pages began suggesting there had been some form of confrontation, fans immediately started revisiting older interviews, podcast clips, and public statements involving both camps. Some users pointed to previous discussions about loyalty, business decisions, and industry politics. Others searched for any recent interaction that might support the idea that tensions had escalated. Very quickly, multiple timelines began circulating online. One timeline focused entirely on confirmed public events, appearances, interviews, collaborations, and statements that could be independently verified. Another timeline included speculation, fan theories, and interpretations that connected separate events into one larger narrative. As those timelines spread, they started blending together. People who encounter the story later often couldn't tell where verified information ended and internet interpretation began. This isn't unusual in modern hip-hop media. Viral headlines often move much faster than complete context. Creators compete for attention, reaction channels respond to one another, and viewers add their own interpretations in comment sections. Over time, the discussion itself can become more influential than the original rumor. Older clips soon became part of the conversation. Comments about respect, independence, and navigating the music business, made months or even years earlier, were reposted beside current speculation. While those clips reflected genuine public statements from their original moments, they were not necessarily responses to the latest rumor. Nevertheless, many viewers interpreted them as supporting evidence because of how they were presented. That created two very different perspectives. Some fans believed the resurfaced material provided useful background for understanding the personalities and relationships involved. Others argued that removing interviews from their original context risked creating misleading narratives that appeared more connected than the public record actually showed. The debate kept growing. With every reaction video, live stream, and repost, audiences became less focused on one alleged confrontation and more interested in the broader question of influence, reputation, and perception within Southern hip-hop. And that's exactly where the story takes its first major turn. Because the biggest twist wasn't what people thought had happened. It was how the internet pieced the story together in the first place. The real conflict started when the viral headline began spreading faster than any publicly verified details. Within hours, reaction channels uploaded videos with dramatic titles claiming that Jay Prince Jr. had confronted NBA YoungBoy. Thumbnails showed intense facial expressions, bold red arrows, and captions suggesting a heated showdown had already taken place. Viewers clicked expecting leaked footage or confirmed public incident. Instead, they found something very different. Most videos relied on a combination of past interviews, public statements, business discussions, and speculation about relationships within the rap industry. While these elements were real, they did not publicly establish that a direct confrontation had occurred. That was the first major twist. The internet wasn't reacting to a confirmed event. It was reacting to a narrative that had grown through repeated interpretation. As the rumor spread, fans started playing detective. They searched old live streams, podcast appearances, concert footage, and social media posts looking for clues. Every screenshot became evidence. Every vague caption invited dozens of new theories. Ordinary interactions were suddenly viewed through the lens of the viral headline. Some creators compared the situation to previous industry disagreements, suggesting that long-standing business relationships and changing alliances could explain why the rumor felt believable to so many people. Others pushed back. They reminded viewers that hip-hop has seen countless viral stories where speculation travels much faster than confirmed reporting. In those cases, dramatic editing and selective presentation often create the appearance of certainty before the underlying facts are fully understood. Still, the algorithm rewarded the most sensational versions. Each reaction video inspired another response. Each response generated new clips. And each clip encouraged viewers to revisit older content looking for hidden meaning. Before long, the discussion had expanded beyond one alleged confrontation. People started debating influence. Who really shapes careers behind the scenes? How much power do established industry figures still hold in today's streaming era? And as the rise of independent superstars changed the balance of influence in Southern hip-hop, those questions fueled even more commentary. Older interviews about business strategy, loyalty, and artist independence resurfaced across every major platform. Although many of those conversations had originally focused on broader industry topics, they were now being interpreted through the lens of the current rumor. That created a powerful feedback loop. The more people searched for proof, the more edited content they found. The more convincing the larger narrative seemed. Eventually, some viewers began tracing the original sources behind the biggest claims. They discovered that several widely shared clips had been taken from unrelated interviews recorded months or even years apart. When viewed in their complete context, those interviews discussed general industry issues rather than a specific public confrontation. That discovery divided the audience. One side argued the viral story had become exaggerated through repetition and editing. The other side believed that even without direct confirmation, the broader pattern of public discussions and business speculation still justified asking questions. And that's where the conflict truly changed. It stopped being about one alleged meeting. Instead, it became a debate over how modern hip-hop narratives are built and how quickly speculation can begin to feel like established fact when enough people repeat it. Just when that debate reached its peak, another wave of online discussion pushed the story into an even more complicated direction. The conversation intensified when creators stopped asking whether confrontation had happened and started asking what it would mean if it had. That subtle shift changed everything. Instead of focusing on publicly available evidence, the internet began building larger theories about influence, alliances, and power within the rap industry. Reaction channels started publishing elaborate timelines. They lined up old interviews, podcast clips, social media screenshots, and public appearances, suggesting they revealed a broader pattern. Some argued that changing artist relationships, management decisions, and collaborations pointed toward a quiet shift in the industry's balance of influence. Others cautioned that these timelines often combined unrelated events without demonstrating a direct connection. Then the second major twist emerged. Viewers noticed that many of the biggest updates circulating online were not actually new. The same interviews kept resurfacing. The same podcast clips appeared in multiple videos. The same screenshots were reposted with different captions. Depending on the creator, identical source material was presented in completely different ways. One video described it as evidence of growing tension. Another called it proof that nothing unusual had happened. Both relied on many of the same publicly available clips. That realization split the audience once again. Some viewers argued that the repeated recycling of old material showed how easily viral narratives can grow even when there are few confirmed developments. Others maintained that revisiting historical interviews and public statements could still provide valuable context about industry relationships, provided those clips were presented accurately. Meanwhile, discussion spread beyond the original headline. Fans debated whether today's music business works differently from previous generations. Some believed independent artists now hold far more leverage than traditional industry gatekeepers because of streaming platforms and direct fan engagement. Others argue that long-established business relationships and networks continue to play an important role behind the scenes. Those broader debates became more popular than the rumor itself. Live stream hosts invited guests to discuss the changing structure of the music industry rather than the alleged confrontation. Comment sections filled with conversations about ownership, independence, contracts, and artist development. The original headline had become only the starting point. By now, the internet wasn't simply reacting to one unverified claim. It was using that claim as a lens through which to discuss much larger questions about modern hip-hop. And that created the biggest irony of all. The more the conversation expanded, the less it depended on whether the original rumor was true. Instead, it became a reflection of how online communities interpret incomplete information, connect separate events, and build compelling stories from publicly available fragments. As millions of viewers continued debating every new upload, one thing became increasingly clear. The public reaction had grown far bigger than the alleged confrontation that sparked it, and that emotional response would soon become the next chapter of the story. The moment the rumor reached major hip-hop platforms, the discussion took on a life of its own. What began as speculation about an alleged confrontation quickly transformed into one of the most talked-about conversations across rap media, not because of new verified developments, but because different communities interpreted the same public information in completely different ways. On X, #connected NBA YoungBoy and J. Prince Jr. began trending in rap circles. Fans posted old interview clips, screenshots, and podcast excerpts while debating whether they provided meaningful context or simply fueled speculation. Some users argued that the entire narrative had been exaggerated by social media, while others believed the discussion reflected broader questions about influence and relationships within the industry. Instagram pages amplified the drama. Large hip-hop accounts created eye-catching graphics placing NBA YoungBoy and J. Prince Jr. face-to-face with captions implying major behind-the-scenes tension. Many of those posts generated thousands of comments, even though they often relied on previously available material rather than newly confirmed information. YouTube reaction channels approached the story from several different angles. Some creators carefully distinguish between confirmed public statements and online theories, encouraging viewers to separate reporting from speculation. Others focus on emotional storytelling, combining archived interviews, commentary, and dramatic editing to create compelling narratives about changing dynamics in Southern hip-hop. Reddit discussions became more analytical. Users assembled timelines, identified original interview dates, and compared viral clips with their full-length versions. These efforts helped clarify where certain statements came from, but they did not eliminate disagreement. People continued interpreting the same evidence in different ways based on their own expectations and perspectives. Supporters of NBA YoungBoy emphasized his consistent success, loyal fan base, and independent approach to releasing music. They argued that his influence naturally leads to constant speculation whenever his name appears alongside other major industry figures. Others highlighted the long-standing reputation associated with the Prince family, noting that their involvement in hip-hop business has often made them central to conversations about artist relationships and industry influence. Despite these different viewpoints, one common theme emerged. Many fans expressed frustration with how quickly speculation can overshadow context. They pointed out that dramatic headlines, selective editing, and repeated reposts often make it difficult to distinguish between verified developments and evolving internet narratives. That realization shifted the emotional tone. Instead of debating only whether one specific event occurred, audiences began discussing something much broader. How should hip-hop media balance engaging storytelling with careful presentation of publicly verified information? That question remained unresolved. And as new reaction videos continued appearing, the conversation showed no signs of slowing down. Because by now, the public response had become far more significant than the original rumor itself. Every repost created another interpretation. Every interpretation inspired another debate. And every debate added another chapter to a story that the internet was still rewriting in real time. Just when it looked like every angle of the story had already been explored, the conversation took one final and unexpected turn. Instead of uncovering a decisive new piece of evidence, fans began noticing something even more revealing. The biggest changes in the story weren't happening because of new public facts. They were happening because the framing kept changing. People revisited the earliest videos and posts that first pushed a headline about an alleged confrontation, and perhaps that's the biggest lesson from this entire discussion. Sometimes a viral headline grows not because every new post reveals something different, but because every new creator presents the same information through a different lens. That leaves one final question hanging over everything. If another interview surfaces tomorrow, if another podcast clip starts trending, or if one verified public statement changes the direction of the conversation, will it finally answer the questions everyone has been debating? Or will it simply become another piece of content added to a story that keeps evolving every time it is shared? Because in modern hip-hop media, the biggest battle isn't always over what happened. Sometimes it's over who gets to shape the story first. After breaking down every angle of this story, one thing stands out more than anything else. This conversation has become much bigger than one viral headline involving NBA YoungBoy and Jay Prince Jr. It's become another example of how quickly hip-hop discussions evolve once social media, reaction channels, podcasts, and fan communities all begin interpreting the same public information in different ways. Some viewers believe the online speculation reflects genuine shifts in relationships and influence within the industry. Others see it as a reminder that dramatic headlines and repeated reposts can sometimes make a developing narrative feel more certain than the publicly verified information actually supports. That's why we want to hear from you. After watching this entire breakdown, what do you think? Do you believe the internet turns separate moments into one larger story? Or do you think there's more happening behind the scenes than has been publicly confirmed? Share your opinion in the comments and explain why you see it that way. Thoughtful discussions make these conversations more valuable, especially when they distinguish between verified facts and online speculation. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future breakdowns covering major hip-hop stories, industry developments, and verified updates as they happen. Thanks for watching, and remember, in today's hip-hop world, the biggest headlines don't just come from what happens. They also come from how stories are shared, discussed, and interpreted across the internet. We'll see you in the next video.